Only a few things are certain in life: death, taxes, and NBA fans never agreeing on who the GOAT is. Some say it's Michael Jordan because of his talent, clutch postseason performances, and those 6 incredible championships he won with the Bulls. Others swear it's LeBron James, also because of his undeniable versatility, record-breaking achievements, and the fact that he's still putting up numbers with teenagers at 40. But what if MJ never stopped? What if he played 22 straight seasons? I mean, no baseball, no golf breaks, just straight up buckets till his knee said that's enough, bruh. Would that have settled the GOAT debate? And how many more titles would he have won? If LeBron did it, so could MJ, right? Hero, it's Swish Roll! And here's what would have happened if MJ played to 40 like LeBron. The idea of MJ playing 22 seasons straight into his 40s is intriguing, not only for NBA fans but also for the player himself. I mean, just imagine all of the things he could have achieved with those extra years. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy saying MJ could have achieved more, but hear me out, please. Despite setting many outstanding records, Jordan also set some weird records. For example, in the history of NBA, no player has retired more times than his Earnest. To date, he remains the only player in history of the league to have retired 3 times. The first was on October 6, 1993. Jordan was at the peak of his powers back then, having led the Bulls to an unprecedented 3rd consecutive title. But off the court, he was struggling with a gambling addiction.
This is it.
Rumors of his excessive gambling habits spread like wildfire, and Jordan didn't do much to denounce them. The night before Game 2 of the 1993 Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks, MJ was seen gambling in Atlantic City. Shortly after, Richard Esquinas, one of Jordan's closest associates at the time, claimed that the shooting guard owed him over $500,000 in gambling debts. As if that wasn't bad enough, his father, James Jordan, was robbed and murdered in the summer of that same year.
I think that I looked at the death of my father. Unfortunately, it happened at the hands of another human being, which, in essence, that's very difficult to deal with.
The GOAT was broken mentally, physically, emotionally, but even worse, he lost his zest for the game.
When I lose the sense of motivation and the sense of to prove something as a basketball player, it's time for me to move away from the game of basketball.
After walking away from the NBA, Jordan pursued a baseball career. But his love for basketball never waned, or let's just say he found out quickly that hitting a baseball is harder than crossing up Craig Alo.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores!
Either way, by March 1995, our man was back in a Bulls jersey, picking up where he left off, and snatching 3 more championships like it was nothing. But then in 1999, he hit us with the same old trick.
Michael Jordan always said he wanted to retire on top, and so he has. Today, he made official the story that broke Monday night that he would not return to the Bulls after 13 seasons, 6 championships, and countless game highlights.
At the time, his Earnest claimed he was exhausted, and when journalists asked if he would return, he replied that there was a 99.9% chance he would never play in the NBA again. But apparently, he lied, because just 2 years later, he was back in the league. This time though, he wasn't rocking the Bulls red. He was out here praying for the Washington Wizards. For someone who said he was exhausted, MJ sure found enough energy to suit up for all 82 games in the 2002 to 2003 season with the Wizards. But then in March 2003, just a month after turning the Big 4-0, he called it quits for the third and final time.
You know what? I quit!
So technically, MJ did play till he was 40, but not in the same way that LeBron is currently doing. But again, what if Michael did end up playing 22 straight seasons? Remember when I said MJ is the only player in NBA history to retire 3 times? Well, honestly, it could have been more. Imagine that Jordan had somehow continued playing in the NBA beyond 2003 and maybe even grabs another ring or 2. What do you think he would have done? Yeah, you guessed it right. He would have called an emergency global press conference, rant about how he's lost interest in the game, and at the end of it all, announce his grand retirement, only to return a few months later. And who knows, he could have played that same script a few more times depending on when he eventually decides to retire for real. But come to think of it, a 40-year-old Jordan in the NBA, would he really have been able to keep up? See, when it comes to Jordan, there's no doubt about his talent. He is easily one of the most gifted players to ever touch a basketball. And it was obvious from the moment he arrived in the league. He marked his NBA debut with 16 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 blocks. And by the end of the season, he led the league in scoring and walked away with Rookie of the Year award. All while averaging 28 points per game in the regular season and 29 points per game in the playoffs. And just when people thought it was a fluke, Jordan turned up the heat in the 86-87 season. Despite suffering a foot injury that significantly reduced his game time, he averaged 23 points per game in the regular season and airdropped 131 points in just 3 playoff games. From that point on, Jordan became unstoppable. He completely dominated the league, winning 10 scoring titles and won Defensive Player of the Year award among many other accolades. But the crown jewel of them all was winning 6 NBA titles. And it's not just about winning championships. The way Jordan owned every moment, every series, and every final he played in was absolutely magical. In 1986, for instance, he scored 63 points in Game 2 of the first-round playoff tie against the Celtics. To this day, nobody has scored more in a single playoff game. Not Kobe, not LeBron, not even playoff Jimmy Butler on espresso shots. But here's where it gets really wild. All through his career, Jordan made it to the NBA Finals 6 times, and on each of those occasions, he won the title and was named MVP. 6 trips, 6 rings, 6 final MVP. Can you beat that? I mean, with such a record, it's clear that if MJ had stuck around for a few more seasons, he most likely would have won more rings.
I believe, however, he would have ended up with at least 7 titles, possibly 8.
Of course, Freeman A. Smith would agree, because what else would you expect from a fanboy?
It's the GOAT! Give me number 5, please, right here, please.
But if you rewind to the end of the 1998 season for a second, you probably agree with him. At the time, the Bulls had just pulled off a three-peat and everyone believed they'd run it back at least one more year. Everyone except Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf, both of whom decided the team was aging and it was time to rebuild. Indeed, the Bulls had a lot of old legs on their roster, including Scottie Pippen, Phil Jackson, and Jordan. and eventually the grind of an 82-game season would have caught up with them. But the 1999 season, due to a lockout, the league didn't start until the first week of February, and only 50 games were played in the regular season. This means that those old Dregs would have had about 7 months to rest. Chances are they would have cruised through the East and ended up in the finals against the San Antonio Spurs, who were all a good team as well. That would have been a matchup, but would they have defeated the Bulls? Sure. Anything's possible in the NBA, but betting against a lock-in MJ in the finals, you might as well set your money on fire. Some folks might say Jordan was past his prime in 1999, and they're right. But we cannot ignore his pedigree and quality. I mean, this man averaged 30 points per season for the most of his career. And even in his final year with the Wizards at age 40, he put up 20 points per game on 44.5% shooting. For context, that's a higher shooting percentage than his 1994-95 season, when he was supposedly in his prime. Oh, and he did that surrounded by role players and DMV bench warmers. Now imagine if he had joined a super team, MJ plus KG on the Timberwolves, or MJ with a young Yao Ming on the Rockets. Either way, a motivated Jordan plus actual superstar help would have most likely resulted in another finals trip and maybe another ring. Still don't believe me? Well, here's a quick stat for you. The San Antonio Spurs won the NBA championship that season in 2003, and the team's top scorer, Tim Duncan, averaged just 23 points per game in the regular season. That's 3 more points than MJ averaged in that campaign. In fact, aside from Duncan, Jordan outscored every member of that title-winning team in the regular season. So yeah, MJ could have absolutely kept hooping at the highest level for a few more years. Trust me, every super team from that era would have fought tooth and nail to get him on their roster. And depending on where he landed, a bunch of crazy scenarios could have unfolded. For instance, he could have played against LeBron. Alternatively, both players could have played on the same team. Also, Jordan extending his NBA career would have seen him steal a ring or two from the likes of Shaq, Kobe, and Duncan. And most importantly, it could have ended the GOAT debate before it even started. I mean, imagine MJ plays till age 45 and snags 2 more rings. Would we still be having this conversation about who's the greatest? Most definitely not. But in the end, that didn't happen. Jordan chose to walk away from the game, and we cannot hate him for that. In fact, we should be grateful to him, because had he not made the decision to retire in 2003, the barbershop arguments wouldn't be as entertaining as they are today. But how many more rings do you think Jordan would have won if he played past 40 and 22 straight seasons? Let us know in the comment below. Swish Roll out.